This evening, government planning a number of events to commemorate International Women's Day over the weekend and into the new week. CANU busted 2 men with 100 pellet packets of narcotics in West Ruimveldt. Cop involved in the horrific accident on the Mahaica bridge granted bail. In the region, tough times ahead. Barbados Prime Minister tasked with spearheading the Caribbean community's economic recovery efforts, and internationally, volunteers shuttle between Poland and Ukraine to provide aid. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. The police involved in the tragic Mahaica accident that claimed the lives of 2 youths who were allegedly fleeing the police was today granted bail in the sum of $1.5 million when he appeared at the Vigilance Magistrates Court. He was charged with 2 counts of dangerous driving. 27-year-old Police Corporal Lawrence Carmichael of Seafield, Barbados, is accused of driving a Guyana Police Force vehicle in a dangerous manner on February 2, 2022, resulting in the death of 20-year-old Christopher Bagwandat of Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara, and 16-year-old Sharida Passad of Bath Settlement, West Coast, Barbados. Attorney Dexter Todd, who represents the officer, contended that the case should be handled through a commission of inquiry rather than a criminal court. He also said that lawmakers should reconsider the regulations governing police pursuits of suspects. Meanwhile, outside the court, relatives of the young couple expressed their displeasure after they learned that the couple was granted bail. On Monday, the DPP instructed that the police institute charges for the offense of causing death by dangerous driving on Carmichael. The DPP also ordered that a preliminary inquiry with further investigations be conducted since the charge is an indictable one. The file is expected to be returned to the chambers of the DPP for further legal advice on Monday, March 7, 2022. On the day of the accident, Bagwandat was driving PNN 8852 when he was pulled over by traffic officials. However, as the police approached him, he allegedly drove away at a high rate of speed. A high-speed chase ensued, resulting in a 4-vehicular crash at the Mahaica bridge. Both of the deceased's family had harshly criticized the police, stating that their handling of the matter was unprofessional. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit arrested 2 men in possession of suspected cocaine. The males were discovered with a substantial amount of pellet packets at a house in West Ruimveldt. More from Dale Jarvis.
Officers of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit conducted a search operation and arrested 2 males found wrapping pellets of suspected cocaine at a residence in the West Ruimveldt Front Road area on March 2, 2022. Reports are that 49-year-old Ron Reed and 45-year-old Nigel Dundas was found with over 100 packets of pellets. The men were arrested and escorted to the CANU headquarters with the suspected narcotics, which tested positive for cocaine and weighed in their presence. The drug amounted to over 1,000 kg with a street value of over $1 million. The men remain in custody pending charges. Reed is no stranger to CANU. In 2015, along with his common-law wife, he was arrested with 70 grams of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. In 2017, CANU issued a wanted bulletin for Reed after his associate Julius Watkins was intercepted at the Chedijakan International Airport with 114 cocaine pellets that he had ingested. Watkins subsequently pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. The following day, Ron Reed had turned himself into CANU. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. March 8 is designated as International Women's Day. This year, it will be celebrated under the theme Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, with the campaign theme being Break the Bias. Break the Bias is fitting because the day is one of action where women and conscious men come together as a global community to advocate for gender equality. As part of the Ministry of Education's plan to observe International Women's Day 2022, female teachers and pupils across the country are encouraged to celebrate hair freedom on this day by relaxing rules around what is considered acceptable hairstyle choices. Every girl and woman is unique and deserves to celebrate their individualism. The stronger the individual girl, the stronger the group to which she belongs or the country in which she lives. One of those acts of self-expression is how she chooses to wear her hair. Also, in celebration of International Women's Day 2022, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security will be recognizing women's empowerment and resilience at the Arthur Chung Convention Center. The 2-day event will begin with an official launch on Saturday at 3 p.m. It will showcase over 120 up-and-coming female-owned businesses. Added to that, the Office of the First Lady will be hosting a Women's March on Sunday, March 6th at 6 a.m. The march will commence at Main Street in front of the Bank of Guyana and end at the Kingston Seawall Bandstand. Anyone who wishes to participate in the walk, which aims to raise awareness of the role of women in society and some of the restrictions that continue to limit their benefit, is welcome. The First Lady's office will be supplying International Women's Day t-shirts. If you want to learn more about the events planned for this weekend, you can go to the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security's Facebook page. Stick around after the break. CANU officers intercepted a motor vehicle transporting 100 pounds of cannabis, and TRICOM begins registration from permanent registration offices in all 10 administrative regions.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Ruimveldt or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. The Guyana Elections Commission will commence registration of eligible persons from all of its permanent registration offices in all of the 10 administrative regions from March 7th to May 29th, 2022. Any persons who will be 14 years old by October 31st, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or a citizen of a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more can apply for registration during this exercise, provided they have never been registered before. Persons desirous of conducting any registrations are required to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for their area or residence with the relevant source of documents, which are original birth certificates, valid passport, adoption certificate, or naturalization certificate in the case of making applications for new registration, original marriage certificates or deed poll with birth certificates in the case of an application for a change of name. Existing registrants who are desirous of updating their record, such as a request to correct or change their name, date of birth, occupation, and update their address, are advised that those transactions will be facilitated during this exercise. It is important to note that all persons who would have been first-time applicants in the 14 to 18 years age group captured during the 2019 house-to-house registration have had their applications registration cancelled. Those persons are required to reapply for registration during this registration period. Officers of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit apprehended a vehicle smuggling 100 pounds of cannabis in the Barbados area. Dale Jarvis has more.
On March 2, 2022, Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit officers intercepted a motor vehicle transporting 3 occupants at number 63 Village Quarantine, Barbados. A subsequent search revealed parcels of suspected cannabis. The occupants were arrested and escorted to the CANU's Barbados office, along with the motor vehicle and parcels of suspected cannabis, which tested positive, weighing over 100 pounds with a street value of over $16 million. Investigations are ongoing. These operations are a part of CANU's effort to curb the flow of narcotics in the said district. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Don't go away after the break. Bangladesh's plastic crisis puts its economic lifeline at risk, and Indian students loses money after Canadian colleges closes. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Ruimveldt or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Moore-Motley was tasked with spearheading the Caribbean community's economic recovery effort. Regional heads of government ended their 33rd Caribbean Intersessional meeting in San Pedro Belize yesterday evening with the declaration that Motley will lead an expanded CARICOM Economic Recovery and Transformation Subcommittee. Motley lamented Russia's invasion of Ukraine has created enormous difficulties and challenges for CARICOM. Energy price increases, according to the Prime Minister, will be a major worry for the Caribbean, as will freight costs and the supply chain. She went on to say that attempts to improve food production must be urgent because food prices are projected to rise as a result of Russia's and Ukraine's major involvement in corn and soy production. Motley hopes that the subcommittee will be able to meet in the upcoming week to further refine the types of suggestions. Internationally, in Bangladesh, researchers say islands of plastic waste are choking the CANU River in the country's southeast. It's considered an economic lifeline for the port city of Chattogram, Al Jazeera's Tanvir Chowdhury reports.
Most fishermen on the banks of this once clean and flowing river are now struggling to keep their livelihood going. Noor Ahmed's family has fished in the Karnofuli River for generations.
There used to be an abundance of fish here, but over the years, due to various types of factory waste, garbage, and polythene, fish stocks are gradually disappearing here. Nowadays, we barely get any fish. Aside from some small shrimps, it's hard for us to manage a living anymore.
According to a study, Bangladesh generates more than 800,000 tons of plastic waste a year. It's also reported to make up more than 60% of the litter found on the country's beaches. And keeping the rivers clean is becoming harder.
We find various types of wastes, like polythenes, plastics, etc., making it very difficult for us to dredge and delays our work.
The Chattogram Port Authority says it recently found a layer of polythene up to 3 meters thick while dredging the riverbed. You can see thick layer of silt like this at different points all across the Karnofuli River here in Chattogram Port City. This is due to years of dumping of plastic, polythene, industrial and household waste in the river. Although Bangladesh was the world's first to ban plastic shopping bags due to lack of enforcement and public awareness, polythene is still widely used.
Unless we manage to stop the production, usage and banning of polythene, then at some stage the Karnofuli River, the lifeline of Chattogram, will be totally clogged and the operation of the port will be at stake.
According to industry insiders, there are more than 1,000 small plastic recycling factories across the country that produce plastic flakes from scraps and some export them.
We receive these from waste collectors. Then we break them into microchips, which is later used once again to make plastic products.
But creating more plastic products isn't helping tackle the problem. And the UN says every day about 73,000 tons of plastic waste were entering the Bay of Bengal through Bangladesh, some of which comes from neighboring countries.
In the aquatic ecosystem, plastics degraded into smaller sized microplastics that eventually enter into the food chain, which is a big concern for food safety and human health.
Environmental experts warn the gradual accumulation of pollution in the Bay of Bengal may not only further threaten fishing communities but also hamper shipping and maritime trade. Tanvir Chowdhury, Al Jazeera, Chattogram, Bangladesh.
Thousands of Indian students hoping to study in Canada have been left stranded by the sudden closure of 3 colleges. They are the latest higher learning institutions in Quebec province to be investigated for their admission practices. Al Jazeera's Elizabeth Punaram reports.
Avneet Modi and her parents try to figure out how to recover the nearly $12,000 they've lost in tertiary education fees in Canada. The college Avneet was supposed to go to in Montreal is one of 3 which declared bankruptcy this month and closed.
I'm in a big mess right now because it was my father's money. He earned a lot with so hard work, and now I'm like, I have wasted all that money because I forced my father that I want to go abroad and want to study, I want to live freedomly, independently.
23-year-old Avneet and others like her in cities throughout Punjab have been protesting and appealing to the Indian government to help them get a refund. The government in Quebec province is investigating the admission practices of the 3 colleges which shut down. Another 10 colleges were suspended last year while investigators checked whether they were admitting international students who didn't meet English language requirements and also squeezing the mandatory 20 study hours a week into 2 to 3 days so that students could find a job for the rest of the week. Sending students abroad is big business in India, with agents taking hefty commissions from students' fees. More than 500,000 Indian students travel abroad for their tertiary studies every year, but researchers say less than a third are admitted to established universities. The others go to what are considered substandard colleges in their attempts to get citizenship, or they're deceived by people posing as education agents. Al Jazeera requested an interview with Avneet's agency, but they refused.
So you don't need an agent.
Police in the city of Patiala told Al Jazeera that the desire to go overseas makes many fall for false promises rather than doing their own research.
Verify the credentials of the agents or the educational institutes that are claiming that they'll get you employment or they'll get you admission in the colleges and universities abroad.
But immigration and education consultants who are accredited by foreign governments say the problem is that anyone is allowed to start a study abroad agency in India.
Having a license doesn't mean that this person is qualified. License only means your premises have been identified as having an office. There's no checking of qualifications by the government to see if someone is capable of doing the work.
David and many others are calling on the Indian government to regulate the massive industry, while Avneet and thousands like her try to get their families' life savings back. Elizabeth Puranam, Al Jazeera, Patiala, Punjab.
And finally, in a medieval town in Poland, a few hours' drive from Ukraine, volunteers from across Europe are preparing aid convoys bound for the border. Al Jazeera's Zain Bashrafi reports.
In a medieval town in Poland, a few hours' drive from Ukraine, in the courtyard of an old church, volunteers from all over Europe are preparing aid convoys bound for the border. Less than a week into the Russian invasion, this spontaneous effort aims to help displaced and desperate people inside Ukraine.
They don't have anything. They don't have anything to eat, anywhere to sleep, nothing to fight with.
Volunteers are working against the clock to pack and drive as much aid into the country as they can. Organizers worry Belarusian forces allied with Russia could soon block their supply lines. This effort is the beginning of something bigger. The Polish government plans to use Lublin as a hub for humanitarian personnel, aid flights, and convoys to Ukraine. All signs point to a protracted crisis in Western Europe. Marina is Ukrainian living in Germany. In less than a week, her home was invaded, she was cut off from her family by war, and her middle-aged father was drafted into the Ukrainian army. He has a rifle, but she's worried that he has no body armor.
When you see that mom or dad are calling, you don't know if they are calling just to ask how I feel, or to give the news that someone is dead, or maybe they are calling for the last time.
For now, her focus is to organize aid convoys from her home in Germany to her homeland in Ukraine.
And I'm also proud to be Ukrainer.
As you should be.
Very proud.
Late into the night, donations of warm clothes, food, water, diapers, toys, everything keep coming. But Ukrainians who are fighting need urgent military support. And people like Andriy are taking matters into their own hands. His car is packed tight with walkie-talkies, flak jackets, binoculars, all paid for by crowdsourcing on social media. He is perhaps the face of a burgeoning Ukrainian resistance.
Metal plates.
Young would-be influencers who see themselves fighting the army of a Cold War hawk.
Actually came from Dubai.
When we met him, he and his friend were driving to the border to cross into Ukraine.
Of course, I'm scared because I can die. Yeah, but my feeling is that Putin will maybe not die, but he will not be a president, for sure, because he just started the big war, and I don't believe that people in Russian Federation, they are in his side. Yeah.
We've met a growing number of Ukrainians living abroad, extremely motivated, they say, to go back and fight Russians, despite all odds. They are not part of a foreign army or fighting for some political cause. They are fighting for their homes and families. And Andrii's journey is made more personal because his wife and daughter live in Kiev.
Dear Margarita and Daria, it's my daughter. I'm coming to you to save your life. See you soon.
Ordinary Ukrainians and extraordinary circumstances are all driving east, hoping to find their way home. Zain Basravi, Al Jazeera, Lublin, Poland.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.